Hello there. Thanks a lot for coming by PosterCentral.com's video blog today. I'm Pete Howard, and man, what a great 1950s rock and roll concert poster this is. Wow. And in such clean, unused condition, but absolutely guaranteed to be authentic and original. In fact, it was possibly printed in December of 1957 for this show on February 4th, 1958 in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So, you know, for me, 1958, Chuck Berry, right there I just see Johnny B. Goode and I think, man, that's just about the year to have a Chuck Berry concert poster. Although the song given on the poster is just as good, look at that, Rock and Roll Music by his name, which was not only his most recent top 10 hit, not only covered by the Beatles and the Beach Boys, not only, a great tag for this entire concert poster, but the genre of music that he co-created. So rock and roll music just has several meanings on this poster, and it's just great in every way you look at it. So, and what a nice picture of Chuck as well, almost full length and fingering his guitar. And then, you just got the general layout of this big window card done by legendary Globe Posters in Baltimore, Maryland. And I think it's just really impressive. It's got 6 large photographs of all the musicians. And the layout just has this flow to it that's really easy on the eyes. And even though Globe is famous for doing, day glow colors and all that, ever so often they take a left turn and do something like this, and I think the red and the black and the white really works on this poster. I think it's just it's as a change, I think it's really a nice poster. And if you collect these things, this genre in this time period, you'll know that Globe also made a Little Richard concert poster, much like this, also from Chattanooga, from a few months earlier. So taking this one from the top, I can move it in a little bit closer. You've got Concert and Dance up there at the top. Memorial Auditorium, Chattanooga, Tuesday, February 4th, again 1958, at 8 p.m. Ticket prices, very straight ahead and simple. Advance sale $1.50, at the door $2. Don't even get me started on those low ticket prices for such legends like this. Then you got that big red banner in person. And the top billed act over Chuck Berry is Larry Williams and his orchestra. Well, of course, if you're a rock and roll historian, I presume you know that the Beatles recorded and released on Parlophone 3 of Larry Williams' songs, tying him with Carl Perkins for the most songs written, covered officially by the Fab Four. Those 3, in Larry's case, were Dizzy Miss Lizzy, Bad Boy, and my personal favorite, Slow Down. In fact, John Lennon was a particular fan of Larry Williams, and he sang all 3 of those on the Beatles records. So the first song title, above Larry's name there, is Short Fat Fanny. That was his second single and his first million seller. It went number 5 pop and number 1 rhythm and blues. And guess what? Yep, the Beatles rehearsed that one too for the filming of the movie Let It Be, and so that appears on a lot of bootlegs. Then the second song above Larry's name is Boney Maroney, a top 5 rhythm and blues hit. And hey, look, sorry about this, but I got to mention the facts. The Beatles' influence just never stops. Lennon sang that song regularly with the Quarrymen even, starting in '57 on through all the early Beatles. And then he finally released it on his 1975 album, Rock and Roll. So, Boney Maroney. And you do have a cool picture of Larry Williams off to the left there, with, full length and some pretty cool shoes on his feet as well. That's nice. And then you've got Chuck Berry with rock and roll music, which that single right now was just heading down the charts after being in the top 10. And his next smash single, Sweet Little 16, was headed up the charts as they crossed paths. And Sweet Little 16 was on its way to becoming the biggest hit single of Chuck Berry's career, other than that silly little ditty from the 70s, My Ding-a-Ling. And following Sweet Little 16, well, Chuck would release Johnny B. Goode, the aforementioned Johnny B. Goode, and that was another, of course, top 10 hit. And played by what? Anybody who ever picked up an electric guitar, that song's been played by. So those 3 consecutive top 10 45s were easily the most successful commercial stretch of Chuck Berry's career. And it's just great because this poster falls right in the middle of those three. Getting now to the other two big acts on the poster, and believe me, this poster has four very big acts at the time. These other two acts have a really interesting early connection. So in the early 1950s, both of them were named the Royals. One was based in Detroit, Michigan. The other was in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So, you know, that's 600 miles apart. No real problem, right? Well, right, until they both started to have some measures of success. And then confusion started to reign with, you know, advertisements and promoters and everything else. So rather than one of them changing their name, they did the only fair thing. They got together and agreed to both change their names. So the Royals in Detroit became the Midnighters, and Winston-Salem's Royals became the Five Royales, obviously somewhat closer in name. And I have video blogged individual posters by both of those musicians. So for the Midnighters here, on top of the two songs are given, and of course they were later known as Hank Ballard and the Midnighters in the era of the twist and everything. So the two songs given were top 5 smashes back in 1954, Sexy Ways and Annie Had a Baby, which was the follow-up, of course, to Work With Me, Annie. Now notice the musician to the right of the Midnighters. See that Cal Green Orchestra? That's kind of funny. Now connect the dots across the poster, and it's the same guy who's in the Midnighters. He was one of them. It's just really funny the way they airbrushed out the Midnighters standing behind him for his solo picture. But, you know, it's drawn from the same negative. You know, it's got the same smile and everything, so that's pretty cute. Then you've got the Five Royales, and they have 2 song titles on there as well. I guess that means Chuck Berry's the only one who had only 1 song title, but of course it was such a classic, that's okay. Anyway, for the Five Royales' 2 songs, this is one of those really puzzling things you just can't figure out. You know, they had 7 straight top 10 R&B hits from 1953 up until a few months before this show. So to sell tickets, one of the songs is Baby Don't Do It, a great choice. That was their first #1. But for the second song on the poster, instead of listing, you know, another one of their top 10 hits, even another #1 is in there, they list a 4-year-old B-side, Good Things, which just makes, you know, me scratch my head. And about the only thing I can say as a very serious music historian is that my only point of reference is the Billboard magazine charts. So, you know, it could have been many other factors, including a showstopper song for them in concert. And for the Five Royales, being last listed of the 4 giants on this poster, they get a nice little consolation prize of the biggest picture on the poster. So that's kind of nice. And then finally, perhaps a local act way down there at the bottom, Crazy Chris Colombo and his combo. And a pretty cool picture of him on the drums. And then bottom center white margin there, Globe poster, Baltimore. So boy, rock and roll music indeed. In fact, I could have said that across the very top of the poster, in addition to concert and dance. Chuck Berry sort of leading things, but everybody on here just made great music of the day and just wonderful stuff on a very important early giant window card. Totally original, and wow. Do you think you'd give $1.50 to go see that today? To go back in time, add a few zeros to that. Anyway, thanks a lot for dropping by. It's been great fun, and take care, and we'll see you next time for something soon.